All right, it's time to talk about my favorite hockey team. I'm saying all this off the dome. I'm doing this as a one taker, so I apologize in advance if my thoughts are kind of jumbled, if some of the stuff I say doesn't make sense. I'm just going unfiltered, and I hope you'll understand. So, with that being said, let's first break down the trade. So, Mikko Rantanen is traded to the Dallas Stars. In turn, the Hurricanes get Logan Stankoven, a 2026 first round pick that's top 10 protected, and if it is in the top 10, it shifts to 2027. It's a 2028 first round, also top 10 protected. Will shift to 2029 if it's in the top 10. They also get a 2026 third round pick and a 2027 third round pick. So, real quick, because this isn't the focus of the video, let's break down the trade from Carolina's side. Logan Stankoven's a young player. He had his breakout last year, and he's fallen off a little bit this year. He should be a young asset to the Hurricanes, hopefully be a part of the core for years to come. The first round picks, let's be completely honest, this trade for Dallas with Rantanen makes them immediately a lock for the Western Conference Finals. So the pick is going to be so late, it might as well be a second round pick for both years. And then the third round pick, same thing, but they might as well be considered fourth round picks. Dallas is not going to be any less than a Western Conference Final appearance over the next few years with this addition. So that's the trade breakdown. Again, that's just something I wanted to at least address because it is, part of the story and it's important to cover it from the Hurricanes' perspective. Now, let's get into this with Mikko Rantanen. What an absolute disaster, man. What an absolute unmitigated disaster how this whole situation is played out. And Marty Natchez said it best a few days ago. Why would you go and make a just blockbuster record, not record, but just a crazy trade for Mikko Rantanen if you aren't 100% fully confident, no shadow of a doubt, no hitches, no anything that you'll be able to get an extension done. Dallas got Rantanen extended for 12 by 8, and you're telling me you couldn't match that? After trading away a young budding superstar in Marty Natchez who was having a career year and a solid death piece in Jack Drury, you're telling me you couldn't match 12 by 8? You couldn't convince Rantanen to stay in Carolina with one of his best friends in Aho who played together since they were 15? And you're telling me you couldn't get that extension done? What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. Um, yeah, Marty Natchez is completely right. Why would you make that trade if you aren't fully confident that an extension is going to be done? You know that this player is on an expiring contract. You know this will be his first time ever playing outside of Colorado's organization. Why would you take that risk? Why? I don't get it. I was so excited. I was so stoked when the Hurricanes made this move in late January because it was a sign of things changing with the front office. It was a sign that no longer are the days of not even trying to bring in superstars, or in the case of Jake Gensel, which we will get to in a minute, bringing in superstars and then letting them walk and not being able to retain. I thought that was finally behind us. They've gone out of their way. They've traded away one of the best players on the roster to bring in a bona fide superstar, a franchise cornerstone caliber player in Mikko Rantanen, and you bring him in, and it just completely falls apart. He's with the team for 15 games. Um, one of one of the things that was most talked about when that initial trade happened was how much of an asset Mikko Rantanen would be for the playoffs, especially with the Hurricanes' history of the offense going kaput and completely disappearing during the playoffs in the last few years. And Mikko Rantanen didn't even make it to the playoffs with the team. He didn't play a single game. He's not even going to be on the roster when the playoffs start. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. I don't understand. I do not get it. How have you allowed this situation to completely fall apart this to this magnitude? I don't get it, man. So, Mikko Rantanen is now a Dallas Star. He extended one of the most damning tweets I saw last night was when the initial reports were coming out that Rantanen was in talks with Dallas to sign there, is that Carol, and I'll see if I can find a screenshot of it and put it up during the video, like in the post editing. But it said something along the lines of Mikko Rantanen goes to Carolina, plays 15 games, doesn't sign an extension, but will go to Dallas and immediately sign an extension before ever stepping foot in the building as a member of the Dallas Stars without ever playing a single game. He immediately will go on and sign an extension there. And it said basically like Hurricanes yet again have let another franchise cornerstone caliber players slip through their fingers. And it's completely true because you go back to last year with the trade deadline where he traded away some futures and he traded away a decent middle six option in Michael Bunting to get you trade him to Pittsburgh to go and get Jake Gensel for the playoff push. And Jake Gensel comes over. He's phenomenal in the regular season, post trade deadline. He sets a record for most points by a post trade deadline acquisition and through the rest of the regular season in NHL history. He has 25 points in 17 games. He's a just budding superstar. Phenomenal on the first line with Aho and Jarvis. He looks so good. He goes into the playoffs and he has a bit of a letdown. Let's be honest. I don't think anyone was happy with his performance in the playoffs, but he was still one of the team leaders in points. And the Hurricanes get knocked out in the second round. That heartbreaking loss at home, which still I think haunts the Hurricanes right now because of the fact that they were leading by I think it was 3-1 going into the third period of that game. You were on the cusp of forcing a game 7 after being down 3-0, nearly setting up the storyline to pull off a reverse sweep. But you lose that game in heartbreaking fashion. Freddie Anderson has a terrible game, one of his worst, if not the worst, as a Hurricane. And July 1st hits. And Jake Gensel ultimately walks. After reports that he was going to sign an extension the day before, he ultimately ends up leaving. So you lose all of those assets that you traded to get Jake Gensel, and in turn, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Literally, just the Willy Wonka me. It's literally what happens. Because he walks on July 1st, he goes to Tampa, he signs his contract, he gets his mega deal that he wants, and the Hurricanes have nothing to show for that trade. And you fast forward what was it, July 1st? So you fast forward about 5 months, 6 months to January, late January. I forgot exactly what day that was. But you have Marty Necas, who in the offseason, mind you, there were rumors. I don't know if it was ever actually going to happen or not, but there were rumors from his dad and whatnot, reports that he wanted out of Carolina because he didn't get the role that he wanted. He didn't get the power play time he wanted. He wasn't higher up on the roster than he wanted to be. So you get rid of Jake Gensel, and in turn, you elevate Martin Necas to the first power play unit, and you elevate him to a top 6 role, and he's phenomenal. He has his best year by far in the league. Not even close. Not even close to any performances he's had in previous seasons. He's having his best year as a Hurricane. At one point in November, a few weeks in, he leads the entire league in points. I mean, just a scorching start to the season. And if you're Eric Tulsky, you get on the phone with Colorado. You realize that Marty Necas, despite how good he's playing, ultimately might not end up wanting to sign an extension after this contract. So he's on a 2-year, I think it is, $6.5 million deal, which is reasonable for the amount of points you're getting out of him this season. And you get on the phone with Colorado. Mikko Rantanen's contract extensions are going south. The Avalanche are looking increasingly like they won't be able to get a deal done. So you go, okay, well, we have Necas. He is having a career year. His trade value is at the highest it's ever been. And you're probably not going to be able to extend him, or there's questions that you're going to be able to extend him. Let's put it that way. So you get on the phone with Colorado. You go, hey, you're having trouble signing Mikko Rantanen. We have a guy here in Necas who is going to cost less than Mikko Rantanen, is going to be able to fill in a top-line role with Nathan MacKinnon. He's showing this year that he could be an elite playmaker. He has an elite shot. And we think that if you can send us Mikko Rantanen, especially since you're looking like you're not going to be able to get a contract done, we could send you Marty Necas. It'll be maybe a little bit of a they won't say this, but they'll talk up Marty Necas and whatnot. Anyways, so you get the deal done. And you also, in turn, with not only just giving up Marty Necas, you also give up Jack Drury, who has been a solid third, fourth line guy who fills his role. He's a physical presence. He'll fight, he'll hit, he'll be defensively sound, all that stuff. And you ship him and Marty Necas to Colorado. You bring in Mikko Rantanen, immediately start working on getting an extension done. This is where it should have been before Mikko Rantanen even stepped foot out of Colorado's building. You should have had this extension done, sealed, shipped. It should have been not even a thing. It should have been done, taken care of. You should have known with this trade that you would be holding on to Mikko Rantanen after this year and for years to come as a franchise cornerstone. But that doesn't happen. So, in turn, in the last 8 months, the Hurricanes have turned Michael Bunting, a couple prospects. I think they also sent a pick to Pittsburgh for Jake Gensel. They also turned Jake Gensel because he leaves in free agency, Marty Necas, and Jack Drury from the trade. And now you lose Mikko Rantanen. All of that turns into Logan Stankoven and 2 first-round picks, which are borderline second-round picks, and 2 third-round picks, which are borderline fourth-round picks. That is historically bad asset management. That is awful. That is 3 superstars in Marty Necas, Mikko Rantanen, and Jake Gensel gone within 8 months of time period from the time that they arrived in the league, or from the time they arrived in Carolina to the time they were shipped out. In 8 months, you've lost 3 superstar bona fide franchise players. And all you have to show for it is Logan Stankoven. And this is not a knock on Stankoven. I have nothing against the kid. I'm sure he's going to develop into a great player. He's only 22 years old. But that is horrible asset management. Absolutely terrible. That is so bad. And it is inexcusable. Inexcusable that this has developed the way that it has. You lose Jake Gensel, and this is going to transition into my next point, which is the long-term effects this is going to have on the Hurricanes organization, because I don't think people are talking about this enough. I'll reference again that tweet I said a minute ago about Jake Gensel, Marty Necas, and Mikko Rantanen all now having been gone out of the organization. The Hurricanes being unable to retain any of those guys. Last year, you lose Jake Gensel on July 1st. Okay, it's frustrating. It sucks. It's very unfortunate, especially with the reports that he was ready to sign an extension and then a day later he's gone. That's some of that's out of your control, right? So here's why this trade potentially damages the reputation of the Hurricanes organization for years to come. You have that happen last year with Jake Gensel, and it's frustrating, but it's a free agent who's going to July 1st, who's wanting to get as much money on the table as possible. Hurricanes just simply couldn't match Tampa. That's fine. You now have gone from that situation to now trading away one of your franchise pieces in Marty Necas, and having the breakout year of his career, looking like an absolute stud. And you bring in Mikko Rantanen, you fail to get an extension, and you have to ship him off. That's, again, 3 guys that are franchise cornerstone pieces that you've lost in the span of 8 months. Why would free agents trust you? Why would a big superstar free agent? Why would a superstar? I can't talk. This is the issue with doing this in one take, is that I'm just rambling, and again, I apologize for my thoughts maybe not being cohesive, but I'm just letting it all out in a tirade because I'm extremely upset right now, like extremely frustrated. So Mikko Rantanen is now gone. Marty Necas is gone. Jake Gensel is gone. Why, as a free agent, if I'm looking, if I have, I have the what's the phrase, the ocean, the world is my pearl or whatever, where it's like basically it's basically I have all the options on the table right now. Why would I willingly go to Carolina when the front office has shown an inability to hold on to franchise studs, to hold on to elite players? Why would you trust Carolina? Why would you choose Carolina over anyone else? Mikko Rantanen didn't choose Carolina. Jake Gensel didn't choose Carolina. Marty Necas was having a great year with Carolina, but then he got shipped off, and he's now probably happier with Colorado because he's playing with one of the best players in the world in Nathan MacKinnon. So why, as a free agent, would you choose Carolina? Why would you choose Carolina? You have less, objectively less talent to work with. Like I love Aho, love him to death, but he is not a McKinnon or a Matthews or a McDavid or a Crosby level superstar. He's just not. I love the kid. I've rooted for him his entire career. Obviously, he's been phenomenal. He's been one of the best players in franchise history, if not the best player in franchise history. But facts are facts. Facts are facts. He is not on that level. So if you're a superstar looking to get a max mega deal, Carolina, I think that the way that this is developed, Mikko Rantanen, the fact that they failed to get an extension after trading major pieces to get him, I think this shows that Carolina is not in a position to hold on to elite players, and that is really bad. That is really, really, really bad. So I don't know how you fix this. I really don't. There's a report that came out, I think it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago from The Athletic. It was a survey of anonymous agents around the league for like agents for players. Carolina was rated as the fifth worst run organization in the entire league. They were second. They were rated as the second most difficult front office to deal with, and they had the number one worst owner, the number one worst rated owner in the entire league. Like, if that doesn't tell you how agents feel about Carolina, I don't know what does. And the fact again that Mikko Rantanen is now not a member of the organization after 15 games, um, that's very bad. That is very bad for the Hurricanes as a destination, and they're standing within the league amongst other good to elite teams. They don't have as much pull as other teams, and that's not good. It's slowly started to feel like it's regressing to the playoff drought era where Hurricanes would have to overpay guys just to stay with the organization. They would have to overpay free agents just to attract anything, any kind of players. Now, I'm not saying that it's that bad, but it is trending that way. Whether you want to admit it or not, the Hurricanes are trending back towards that era. And you got to find a way to fix that. I don't know what you do. I don't know how you do it, but you have to find a way to change the mind of NHL player agents around the league to convince them that Carolina is a place worth talking to and dealing with. And I'm I'm gonna cut it off there. I've been rambling. Sorry again if some of my thoughts weren't cohesive. I hope you understand that I just wanted to get everything out, especially because I was at work last night and hearing all the reports of Dallas getting ready to make this trade happen and everything. It just got my mind spinning, and I just wanted to wait. I wanted to wait to make sure I knew all the details of the trade because the trade was inevitable. I wanted to make sure I had all the details of the trade first before I filmed this. Now we know what the trade looks like. We know what's going each way. We know Mikko Rantanen is going to Dallas, signing a 8-year, $12 million extension. We know Logan Stakeoven is coming back the other way. And we know some picks that are, again, they say first round picks and third round picks, but they're going to be so late in the rounds that they're in. They might as well have been the following round. The first rounds are going to be so close to the second round. They're basically early second round picks. The third round picks are going to be so late in the third round. They're basically early fourth round picks. But again, if you're a Hurricanes fan, I'm hurting with you. Let me know how you're feeling. If you're a fan of any other team, let me know what you think of this trade. Let me know, am I off my rocker? Am I off base here with what I'm saying about the Hurricanes' status as an organization right now? Am I off base in terms of how the Mikko Rantanen situation has been handled? Let me know where you agree. Let me know where you disagree. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Go follow me over on Twitch. Join the Discord. Links to those will both be in the description. And thank you for watching. Eric Tulsky is going absolutely nuclear right now. Eric Tulsky calls up Colorado and gets a trade going for Mikko Rantanen. Just an absolute blockbuster trade. You love to see stuff like this.